Is it weird for you to see Liz Cheney, that'd be Dick Cheney's repulsive little daughter, running against you with Kamala Harris?
Well, I think it hurts Kamala a lot, actually. Look, she's a deranged person. The reason she doesn't like me is that she wanted to stay in Iraq. She wants to, tough person. People get killed all over. She's real tough, right? They're not the tough people. But the reason she couldn't stand me is that she always wanted to go to war with people. I don't want to go to war. She wanted to stay in Syria. I took them out. She wanted to stay in Iraq. I took them out. I mean, if it were up to her, we'd be in 50 different countries. And number one, it's very dangerous. Number two, a lot of people get killed. And number three, it's very, very expensive. That's why we owe $36 trillion. She's a radical war hawk. Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her, okay? Let's see how she feels about it. When the guns are trained on her face. They're all war hawks when they're sitting in Washington in a nice building saying, oh, gee, let's send 10,000 troops right into the mouth of the enemy. But she's a stupid person. And I'd have meetings with a lot of people, and she always wanted to go to war with people.
Tonight, breaking news as we come on the air, Donald Trump at a campaign event imagining guns shooting at Liz Cheney. Tonight, Kamala Harris says this kind of violent rhetoric makes Trump unqualified to be president. Just 4 days to go, and the tiny sliver of undecided voters in this country could decide this race. Tonight, Donald Trump at that campaign event imagining guns shooting at Liz Cheney, suggesting guns should be trained at her face.
Guns being trained on a political opponent's head.
Now, this latest comment about 9 barrels pointed at Liz Cheney is the latest escalation.
Let's see how she feels when the guns are trained on her face. Let's sit with that for a moment. Donald Trump declaring before a crowd that Cheney should be put before a firing line.
Openly fantasizing about violent retribution against one of his political opponents.
Well, clearly he was saying that she should be shot.
Donald Trump took his violent rhetoric to a new extreme, suggesting the former Republican Congresswoman should be fired upon.
Saying, quote, war hawk Liz Cheney should be fired upon.
Former President Donald Trump is escalating his violent rhetoric, suggesting one of his most prominent critics, the former Congresswoman Liz Cheney, should be fired upon.
Violent threats. Donald Trump suggests sending Liz Cheney to war and says she should have guns trained on her face.
Right now on ABC News Live, she should have guns trained on her face. 4 days to Election Day, and Donald Trump's rival Liz Cheney becomes the latest target of his violent rhetoric.
The reality is, you're talking about guns trained on a political opponent, regardless of the context.
Trump invoked violence on Liz Cheney after saying, let's put her with a rifle, standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her. You just can't make this up.
He's saying quite explicitly and unambiguously that Liz Cheney should be shot, should be executed by firing squad.
Firing squad's an execution.
Let's execute a political opponent who happens to be a woman because I don't like her.
Trump calls for Cheney execution.
Yeah.
And he says that she should have 9 guns trained at her face.
Donald Trump taking on Liz Cheney, telling his supporters that she should be shot.
He directly said what he thinks should happen to Liz Cheney just because she disagrees with him.
He has suggested that she should be shot.
Explicitly violent about a woman in public life, Liz Cheney.
Just unimaginably violent and loaded comments about Liz Cheney.
He basically called for executing Liz Cheney, his political rival, saying to stand her up in front of a firing squad.
He actually suggested that Liz Cheney should face a firing squad.
Trump was suggesting a firing squad.
Suggesting that we'll put Liz Cheney in front of a firing squad.
It evokes images of an execution, does it not?
He's talking about a firing squad for his political enemies.
You have Donald Trump, who's talking about sending a prominent Republican to the firing squad.
Talking about a firing squad for a fellow Republican, fellow American, out of bounds of the norms.
He's saying quite explicitly and unambiguously that Liz Cheney should be shot, should be executed by firing squad.
Okay, first thing, you shouldn't hate anybody. It's just a waste of energy. When you hate someone, you're simply allowing that person to control you. I learned that after I got divorced. The thing is, though, hating Donald Trump, it doesn't make you a moron. Listening to these people and allowing them to push you into that position, that's what makes you a moron. You see how you're a moron now?
You just can't make this up.